Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Alanya Tayshawn, and today I'm going to be giving you a shortcut on how I interpret ABGs. Of course, with ABGs, before you do anything, you have to know the normal values of the pH, carbon dioxide, and bicarbonate. These values may vary depending on what you're specifically learning, but just apply the values that your professors gave you. Apply those values because these are going to be maybe 1 or 2 off, and it doesn't make much of a difference. But remember the values that your professor gave you. And most likely on the test, it's not going to be like one value off. It's going to be dramatically different. So you can see, okay, this is elevated, this is low. It's not going to be like the pH is 7.46. It's not going to do that, okay? For the sakes of this video, the values that I'm going to give you are pH normal is 7.35 to 7.45. Bicarb normal is 22 to 26. And carbon dioxide normal is 35 to 45. This is going to be super quick because it is so super simple. The way that I remember ABGs is by the acronym ROME, R-O-M-E, which stands for respiratory, opposite, metabolic, equal. The way that I always start off is looking at the pH. Before you look at any carbon dioxide or any bicarb, look at the pH and say, okay, what is this? Is this acidosis or is this alkalosis? If the value is below 7.35, then it is acidosis. If it is above 7.45, then it is alkalosis. Second thing that you need to know is that CO2 corresponds with respiratory and bicarb corresponds with metabolic. So respiratory has to do with the lungs, and then metabolic is a body process. If you see that carbon dioxide is the value is off, then it is a respiratory issue. If the bicarb number is off, then it is metabolic. So going back to the first step, if you go and see that the pH is elevated, meaning alkalosis, and you look at the carbon dioxide and it is low, then you see that that is opposite. That means respiratory, because RO, respiratory, opposite. If you see that the carbon dioxide is going in the opposite direction of the pH, it is respiratory. So pH is elevated. Carbon dioxide is low. Respiratory alkalosis. Okay, because remember, alkalosis is when the pH is elevated. Another example, if you see that the pH is low, meaning acidosis, and the CO2 is up, still opposite, so it's respiratory acidosis. Simple. Period. So for metabolic, the second part of the acronym is ME, meaning metabolic equal. So again, you start off with the pH. No matter what it is, you start off looking at the pH. If the pH is elevated, we already know that means alkalosis. If the pH is low, we already know that that means acidosis. Once you look at the bicarbonate, which is the metabolic value that we look at, if you look at the bicarb and the pH is elevated and the bicarb is also elevated, we know that that means equal. They're both doing the same thing. It is metabolic alkalosis. Same thing if the pH is low, which is acidosis, and the bicarb is also low beneath that 22 value, then we know that it is metabolic acidosis. This chart that should voila over my face should be a good representation to explain what I have been saying. In the first column, you have the names of the conditions, so respiratory acidosis, respiratory alkalosis, metabolic acidosis, and metabolic alkalosis. The second column is pH, you have down, up, down, up. So low obviously is below 7.35 and up is over 7.45. The third column is the CO2, which I said is the respiratory value that we look at. And the fourth column is bicarbonate, which is the metabolic value that we look at. As you can see in respiratory acidosis, remember that I said acidosis is a low pH, and respiratory is when the pH and the CO2 are going in opposite directions. Respiratory alkalosis, alkalosis means pH is high, and respiratory, again, the values are going in opposite directions. Metabolic acidosis, the pH is low, and the pH and bicarbonate are going in the same direction. Metabolic alkalosis, the pH is high, and again, the bicarb is going in the same direction. Hopefully this mnemonic has been helpful to you. It's definitely helpful to me when I'm trying to interpret what the ABGs are saying to me. I definitely look at Rome. Remember, respiratory, opposite, metabolic, equal. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you guys next time. Bye.